Alright, let's be honest here. When it comes to open world games, it's always the same titles hogging the spotlight. GTA, Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, they're amazing, but there are a ton of hidden gems out there that most people completely overlook. I spent months researching and playing to bring you this list of 18 open world games. If you're tired of the same old AAA giants and want to dive into something fresh, get ready, you're about to be surprised.
1. Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning. Kicking things off is a game that should have been a massive franchise, but kind of flopped on its launch. Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning. This game is absolute proof that having a famous fantasy author, R.A. Salvatore, seriously, write the lore makes a difference. People slept on this, but it's arguably one of the best examples of action combat in an open world RPG. It feels like a God of War or a Devil May Cry engine dropped into a vast, vibrant fantasy setting. The moment-to-moment fighting is just so snappy, fluid, and satisfyingly crunchy. The biggest hook is the Destiny system. It's basically a classless progression system where you can switch on the fly between being a pure might, a warrior, finesse, a rogue, or sorcery, a mage. Want to be a battle mage in heavy armor? Go for it. That freedom of build design is something most modern RPGs completely ignore. The world of Amalur is massive, colorful, and packed with traditional Fey lore. While some side quests are standard fetch quests, they are elevated by that fantastic combat and art direction. I personally lost over 150 hours just trying out every ridiculous class combination. If you like huge worlds and kinetic fighting, you need to check this one out.
Next up, we have a game that everyone calls the best GTA clone that isn't GTA, Sleeping Dogs. And honestly, it's criminal how many people missed out on Wei Shin's story in the streets of Hong Kong. The setting itself is what makes this open world shine. Hong Kong is dense, neon-soaked, and feels completely alive in a way GTA's sanitized cities often don't. The environmental design and the sheer vibe of the night markets and crowded streets are incredible. But the two core mechanics that elevate this game are the hand-to-hand combat and the driving. The combat is a brutal, beautiful Arkham-style counter system mixed with incredible environmental takedowns. Throwing a triad member into a wood chipper or an aquarium never gets old. It's gritty, visceral, and the fighting is miles better than its competition. The driving physics strike a perfect balance between realism and arcade fun, which is crucial for a sandbox game. Plus, the story is actually good. It's a deep, dark tale of an undercover cop struggling with his identity. Sleeping Dogs nailed the vibe and the core gameplay loops, and it deserves way more recognition than it gets. 3. Mad Max. A lot of people think Mad Max is just a licensed movie game, but trust me, this is a true post-apocalyptic masterclass that flew under the radar for most players. It's an underrated gem that deserves your time, especially if you enjoy survival and vehicle physics. The wasteland is huge, desolate, and extremely hostile. Exactly what you expect from Mad Max. The biggest time sink and the core of the progression is the magnum opus, your car. You spend 90% of your time scavenging scrap to upgrade your machine. Seeing that V8 engine get installed or finally unlocking the Thunderpoon is pure dopamine. The entire game revolves around systemic vehicular combat. You're always driving, hunting for a Scrotus convoy to ambush. The physics of slamming your car into enemies, watching them explode, and then using the harpoon to rip off parts is insanely satisfying. The on-foot combat uses a solid counter-based system, but it's completely secondary compared to the action on wheels. The whole game works perfectly. It's a near-perfect example of how to make an open world. You're constantly pushing into enemy territory to clear camps and search for that last piece of scrap for your final armor upgrade. It's simple, but extremely well executed, and I guarantee it will pull you in for hours. 4. Starfield. Okay, I know what you're thinking. How is a massive Bethesda game like Starfield underrated? But hear me out. At launch, the hype was so massive that people focused on its flaws, the loading screens, the planet generation. They missed the absolutely incredible role-playing depth and the sheer volume of content. This is the biggest space opera sandbox ever made. The time sink here isn't the main story, which is fine. It's the player-driven exploration and shipbuilding. You can spend literally 10 hours straight just in the shipbuilder menu designing your perfect space beast. And that's a progression loop that's unique to this game. The true gem is the side quest density, especially the faction quest lines. The Ryujin Industries espionage storyline is better than the main plot of most AAA games. The role-playing opportunities are unmatched. You can be a morally corrupt space pirate one minute and a heroic Freestar Ranger the next. People complain about the vastness, but that's the beauty of it. It's a game of procedural discovery married to classic Bethesda charm. You can lose a week just finding random derelict ships and reading their data logs. If you ignore the noise and dive deep into the role-playing, this game delivers 1,000 hours of content. 5. Just Cause 3. If you ever wanted to play a game where the only objective is pure, unadulterated physics-based destruction, then you must pick up Just Cause 3. People tend to write this off as just another open-world title, but it's an exceptional sandbox experience focused entirely on mayhem. The setting is Medici, a massive, stunning Mediterranean island republic that is begging to be blown up. The whole game is built around the chaos system. You liberate areas, towns, military bases, harbors, by destroying every red object in sight, which means tanks, statues, satellite dishes, and giant fuel tanks. The loop is simple, repetitive, but unbelievably satisfying. Rico Rodriguez is basically a one-man army, and the core traversal loop, using the upgraded grapple hook, parachute, and wingsuit, is one of the most fluid and fun ways to cross a massive map. You can rain death from above and literally glide from one side of an island to the other. But the real hook? The retractable tether mechanic. Tying two enemy soldiers together and yanking them into a gas tank? Tying a moving vehicle to the ground to watch it flip end over end? It's creative carnage at its finest. Just Cause 3 is a brilliant open-world playground that deserves way more love for how well it executes its one core goal, blowing stuff up. 6. Enshrouded. Next up is a surprisingly deep co-op game that's blowing up the survival scene but still flies under the mainstream radar, Enshrouded. This game perfectly blends the harshness of a survival RPG with the creative freedom of a voxel-based builder, all set in a decaying fantasy world. The open world of Embervale is huge and gorgeously atmospheric, split between the sunny overworld and the terrifying time-limited Shroud zones. You're forced to manage your time and resources in these foggy areas, which creates this amazing risk-reward exploration loop. For an open-world survival game, the building system is absolutely best in class. It's voxel-based, meaning you can literally carve and shape the land, build massive complex structures, and even utilize new mechanics like simulated water to power things. My personal obsession was building a cliffside base overlooking a shroud area. The sheer architectural freedom is insane. And the combat, it's Soulsborne light, focusing on dodge rolls, parries, and exploiting elemental weaknesses, which is a rare level of mechanical depth for this genre. It's a game of constant satisfying progression, whether you're crafting legendary gear or just building your next great haul. If you want a fresh co-op experience that respects both the builder and the adventurer, this is it.
7. Dead Rising 4. This next one is definitely controversial, and that's why it's underrated. Dead Rising 4. Yes, they removed the notorious timer system, which annoyed some purists, but what they gave us in return is the best, most chaotic open-world zombie sandbox in the series. Frank West returns, and the setting is a rebuilt, Christmas-themed Willamette. complete with a massive megalomaniacal mall and the entire surrounding town. The open-world scope is huge for the series, and they absolutely double down on the core mechanic, combining anything and everything into insane weapons. The time sink here is just pure creative carnage. You're constantly hunting for schematics to make things like the sledge saw or the electric crusher. The crafting system is faster and more fluid than ever, encouraging you to experiment constantly. Throwing on an exosuit and wielding giant X-fists to punch hundreds of zombies is just pure, dumb, hilarious fun. They introduced new zombie classes, the Fresh and Evo types, which keep the combat challenging, but the real joy is the freedom. No annoying clock, just a massive playground full of hundreds of zombies waiting for you to get creative. It's a power fantasy zombie game, and it's criminally overlooked because of the pre-launch complaints.
8. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. Rounding out this block, we have the ultimate cult classic, a game that Capcom made that feels like a forgotten Elder Scrolls title mixed with Monster Hunter, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. This game's open world is unconventional, harsh, and utterly brilliant. Unlike many open world titles, the traversal mechanics here are brutal. There's almost no traditional fast travel, forcing you to traverse the huge map. And that's where the magic happens. The world feels truly dangerous, especially at night when enemies are stronger and the visibility drops to 0. The core combat is legendary. It's a true action RPG where you can climb onto massive foes like Cyclops and Griffins, targeting their weak points while your party, the pawns, shout out tactical advice. The vocation system allows for incredible build diversity, from the arcane magic archer to the versatile mystic knight. The pawn system is the unique selling point. Your main pawn is a secondary character you customize, and you can borrow other players' pawns online. It's a fantastic community and utility mechanic. This game doesn't hold your hand, it dumps you in a dangerous world and trusts you to figure out how to survive. It's challenging, deep, and absolutely deserves your time.
9. Watch Dogs. A lot of people skip over the first Watch Dogs because of the sequel, but Aiden Pierce's debut in Chicago is a phenomenal, gritty open-world sandbox that deserves a second look. It nails the atmosphere of being a lone vigilante hacker. The core mechanical innovation here is the ability to hack literally everything in the city, turning traffic lights red to cause massive pileups, raising bollards to instantly stop police chases, or blowing up steam pipes under the street. That sense of environmental control in a chase is unmatched by other sandbox games. Chicago feels dense and alive, constantly giving you opportunities for emergent gameplay. You can profile every single NPC and find out their income, their job, or if they have money in their bank account you can steal. It creates this addictive surveillance loop that keeps you exploring every crowded corner. The story is dark, dealing with themes of surveillance and paranoia, which feels more relevant than ever. While Aiden isn't as charismatic as Marcus from the sequel, the game's focus on stealth, hacking, and using the city itself as your weapon is a brilliant piece of systemic design that makes it a true underrated gem.
10. Red Faction Guerrilla. If you ever wanted an open-world game where your primary objective is destruction, Red Faction Guerrilla is your answer. This game isn't just underrated, it's a masterpiece of physics simulation that has never been truly replicated. The open world of Mars is huge and desolate, but every single structure, every bridge, tower, and wall is built on the incredible GeoMod 2.0 engine. That's the technical term for why you can literally demolish anything with your sledgehammer, explosives, or vehicles. Want to take out a fortress? Don't look for the gate, just blow out the foundation. The core loop is all about driving around, causing destruction to raise the local population's morale, and fighting back against the oppressive Earth Defense Force, or EDF. The chaos you can create with a well-placed satchel charge is pure, uncut gaming joy. My favorite experience was taking down massive bridges, watching the steel groan and collapse dynamically, trapping EDF forces beneath. It's a game that respects player agency through physics, letting you choose how to approach every situation, stealthily using the terrain, or just driving a dump truck through the front wall. It's an insane, destructive sandbox that deserves way more acclaim.
Number 11. Immortals Fenyx Rising. Next up, we have Immortals Fenyx Rising, which got the unfortunate label of being a copy, when in reality, it's a pure, unashamed open-world adventure that stands proudly on its own. This game is a vibrant, mythological playground. The world design, based on Greek mythology, is stunning and packed with secrets. The writing, especially the narration by Zeus and Prometheus, is genuinely hilarious, giving the game a lighthearted tone that most AAA open worlds lack. The biggest time sink, and the reason it's underrated, is the puzzle density. The entire map is flooded with these incredible vaults of Tartaros, which are essentially mini dungeons, focused entirely on physics-based puzzles, platforming, and using your godly powers. You step into one thinking it'll be a quick 10 minutes, and suddenly an hour has passed trying to master the arrow control mechanic to hit a distant switch. The combat system is also deep, focusing on mid-air combos, parries, and spectacular use of godly tools like Ares' Wrath and Hephaestus' Hammer. It's a perfect blend of action RPG and clever brain teasers. If you love discovering clever secrets and mastering tight mechanics, Immortals is an absolute must-play.
12. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Rounding out this block, we head to Victorian London for Assassin's Creed Syndicate. This is probably the most overlooked AC title, being unfairly overshadowed by its buggy predecessor, Unity, and the RPG sequels. But London in Syndicate is a fantastic open world. The setting itself, Industrial Revolution London, is one of the best in the series. The city is massive, atmospheric, and full of life, from the dark alleys to the grand smog-filled landmarks. The true gem here is the dual protagonist system, letting you switch between Jacob, the brawler, and Evie, the stealth master. The key mechanical difference that makes traversal so fluid is the rope launcher. Sure, some fans hated it, but zipping instantly to the top of Big Ben or grappling across wide streets completely changes the open world dynamic. It makes the movement faster and more fun than almost any other game in the franchise. Plus, the gang warfare system is a total blast. Taking over the boroughs, fighting gang leaders, and recruiting rooks to fight alongside you makes London feel like a truly conquerable space. It's a tight, fast-paced, and wildly satisfying piece of action stealth, and it's definitely time to give the Fry twins the love they deserve.
13. Atlas Fallen: Reign of Sand. Kicking off the final section is a game that was tragically slept on last year, Atlas Fallen: Reign of Sand. If you want a fast-paced action RPG with an open world built around incredible verticality, this is your jam. The world is a vast, beautiful desert, and the game's core gimmick is the ability to surf across the sand at ridiculous speeds. That traversal mechanic is simply the most fun I've had moving through a desert since Mad Max. The maps are huge, but getting across them is pure dopamine. The combat system is the real star, though. It's hyperkinetic, focusing on juggling enemies, parrying, and building up your momentum gauge to unleash devastating shapeshift attacks. Fighting the massive insectoid wraiths feels incredibly fluid and stylish. You are constantly using the gauntlet to raise buried objects or shatter enemy armor. This focus on kinetic movement and strategic damage makes every fight feel like a boss battle. If you love games that reward speed and spectacle, Atlas Fallen is an underappreciated power fantasy that needs to be played.
Next up, we have a complete shift in pace with Submerged: Hidden Depths. This is the definition of an underrated indie gem. It's an open-world adventure game, but it completely removes combat. The world is a beautiful, flooded city, and the time sink here is the meditative exploration. You spend your time traveling by boat, cruising through the ruins of skyscrapers, looking for the mysterious seeds to restore life. It's a very chill but deeply atmospheric experience. The core mechanic is the low-stakes environmental puzzling. You have to figure out how to climb the broken buildings to reach the seeds, often using basic climbing and minimal gear. There are no enemies, only strange, passive creatures, and the beautiful, melancholy sound design. This game is a breath of fresh air for the open world genre. It proves that a game doesn't need violence to be engaging. It's a fantastic piece of environmental storytelling that you can play when you just need to relax and enjoy the scenery. It's a unique take on the exploration loop and completely worth your time.
Number 15, The Sinking City. Now, if you like your open worlds unsettling and dripping with cosmic horror, you need to check out The Sinking City. This is a dark, detective open-world RPG set in a half-flooded, nightmare version of 1920s Massachusetts. The setting, Oakmont, is the main character. It's a claustrophobic, oppressive city that you explore mostly by boat or on foot through the grime-caked streets. The true time sink here is the investigation mechanic. This game is often called Detective Without Training Wheels. It has a no hand-holding approach to quests. You have to use clues, reference your in-game journal, and locate crime scenes and archives manually to solve cases. There are no magical waypoint markers. The deduction system forces you to actively think and piece together the Cthulhu-inspired madness. The combat is rough, which honestly adds to the atmosphere. You're not a hero, you're just a private eye barely holding on to sanity. If you love deep narrative immersion and true detective work over mindless shooting, this is the most underrated Lovecraftian game out there.
16. Kingdom Come: Deliverance. Okay, let's talk about a game that is only underrated because it's so damn hardcore. Kingdom Come: Deliverance. If you want a medieval simulator RPG that throws realism at you until you cry, this is it. This game doesn't just have an open world, it has a historically accurate simulation of 15th century Bohemia. The immersion loop is brutal. Henry, your character, starts as a nobody who can't read, fight, or even cook. Every action requires skill. The combat system is complex, based on real-life historical European martial arts, HEMA, with directional striking and deep stamina management. It takes hours just to be competent. You have to eat, sleep, keep your clothes clean to look intimidating, and learn to read in-game to decipher maps. The time sink is the slow burn progression. It's not about finding magical gear, it's about earning your competence through practice and dedication. It's a fascinating, brutal, and stunningly beautiful world that rewards patience over instant gratification. It's one of the deepest, most underrated open worlds available.
17, Days Gone. We're almost done, and we have to talk about a game that was criminally overlooked at launch but became a massive hit later, Days Gone. This one nails the survival horror open world blend better than almost anything else. The setting, Oregon, is massive, constantly hostile, and absolutely beautiful. You play as Deacon St. John, a biker, and the core gameplay loop is all about bike management and resource scarcity. Your motorcycle is your lifeline, and you're constantly scavenging fuel, repairing damage, and upgrading for better engine torque. The game makes you feel constantly vulnerable, but the real life stealer, the element that makes it truly stand out, is the freaker horde mechanic. Finding a swarm of 500 plus enemies and devising a tactical engagement plan using traps, oil slicks, and explosives is pure chaotic adrenaline. The world is full of emergent encounters and deep upgrade paths. Once you start hunting hordes and mastering the bike's mechanics, your hours just vanish. It's a fantastic piece of emergent sandbox gameplay that finally got the recognition it deserves, but still doesn't get enough credit.
18. Rage 2. Finally, let's end this list with a game that is pure, unadulterated, manic fun, Rage 2. This is the ultimate, colorful, post-apocalyptic shooter that flies under the radar because of its initial comparisons to Mad Max. This open world is the definition of a sandbox shooter. The driving is fast and arcadey, but the core mechanic is the combat system, which is incredible. It blends Doom's aggressive, kinetic pace with unique nanotribe powers like the Shatter Dash and the awesome Vortex ability. The time sink here is the power fantasy loop. You're always hunting down arc chests to unlock new abilities and upgrades, making you exponentially stronger. Clearing a bandit camp isn't about stealth, it's about chaining your abilities for the most explosive and efficient kill streak possible. The world is visually vibrant and encourages chaos. The guns blazing approach and the satisfying feedback of the combat are addictive. If you just want to drive fast, shoot well, and cause massive explosions in a beautiful comic book style wasteland, Rage 2 is your underrated open world fix.
And that's it, folks. 18 underrated open world games you need to play. From the hyper-realism of Kingdom Come to the physics-driven chaos of Red Faction, these are the titles that prove the open world genre is still full of hidden gems. Which one are you downloading first? And what other amazing open world game did I leave out? Tell me in the comments. See you in the next video.